Rosanna Pansino is talking about Tana Mongeau's experience on Escape the Night recently, and some people are not too happy with what she had to say. We are going to dive into everything that has come out and been said about this particular situation because every week I feel like there is more and more said about it. So this weekend, Rosanna Pansino dropped a new video titled Exposing Tana Mongeau's Lies About Me and Escape the Night. And the comments, they're a bit of a mix. But before we get into Rosanna's response, let's quickly recap how we got here because this situation involves a situation that went down during the recent filming of Escape the Night. In December, Tana posted a podcast episode where she hinted at having filmed Escape the Night. She didn't say the name of the project, but fans picked up on what she was saying and figured it out. If you don't know, Escape the Night was a YouTube original show by Joey Graceffa that brought together a bunch of influencers for this reality meets murder mystery style show. Joey was bringing the series back after all these years, and Tana was discussing her time on set, and in that she made mentions of some other people who were also a part of it, which she wasn't supposed to because it was supposed to be a secret. This was not something that was known to the public that this was being filmed and or that she was a part of it. And well, she kind of blew that up because she made it very obvious who she was talking about and what she was talking about here. But in the podcast, one of the things that she mentioned was somebody who was also on set with her. And it was very clear she was talking about Rosanna based on the fact that she was bringing up smoking and a dead parent. And everyone was like, well, Rosanna just posted that video not too long ago, smoking my dead dad. It was the first episode of her podcast. So everybody knew after seeing that she was definitely talking about Rosanna.
There's all of these other characters there as well. I don't want to say all the people. Let's just say I walk into characters screaming, whatnot. I had a YouTuber come up to me and tell me that they're at 9:30 in the morning. I'm standing there fully ready, in a gown, and I'm having a YouTuber tell me that their parent just passed away and they turned their ashes into marijuana and then they smoked their parent. And again, it's not negative. I'm still very happy to be doing this, and it's very much so for the final product. So I'm listen, I might have to suffer today, but I'm happy, nostalgic. You know what I mean? I'm happy I'm doing this.
And Rosanna addressed this mention from Tana in the recent video that she made where she was talking about all of this, and Rosanna and her boyfriend Mike felt like Tana was throwing shade.
A bunch of people were sending Ro basically the clips from 3 different podcasts, and essentially what the clips are is Tana basically Escape the Night and also throwing crazy amount of shade at Ro for no reason that I can discern.
I don't understand it. I've always been cool with her.
I don't know. Literally don't know where that's coming from.
Been kind to her. I don't judge her for anything. That's what's shocking to me.
She went on to say that she was confused because that was not the conversation she had with Tana, and also made a note that she said that her dad didn't just pass away and that he passed away 5 years ago. And she talks about how their interaction on set went down in her eyes.
I am so confused because, yeah, this is not how the conversation went. Mike was there.
I heard the whole conversation.
So I just, I don't understand. When she showed up, I gave her a hug. I noticed she was a little moody. I thought maybe she needed a cup of coffee or something, so I just went over and snuggled with Mike. Later, when she looked to be a little bit more awake and in a better mood, I gave her another hug and I told her that I really liked her new podcast with Trish, Not Loveline, because I've really been enjoying it. I think it's so funny.
In watching back what Tana had to say about her, she just felt like it was mean.
It's just mean.
It felt mean when I'm watching it. It just felt really judgy.
Yeah. And then Brooke, it says, isn't that illegal? Which keep in mind, Brooke does not like Ro.
Right, yeah. Brooke doesn't like me because on my podcast, I had my friend Tila Dunn on, who's an actress, and on the podcast, Tila brought up Brooke, her racist posts that resurfaced or something, and Tila said that it really disappointed her. And I said, yeah, it's disappointing.
Every time Brooke mentions Ro, you can tell.
Her face just scowls.
Just how much hatred is there.
Look at her face. And so right here in this clip, she goes, isn't that illegal?
No, it's not.
And the answer is no, it is not. So my dad's ashes were mixed into soil, and then we grew a cannabis plant. Then we smoked plant.
And she was just really upset they tried to say what she did was cannibalism.
His DNA is not actually in the plants. You're not actually smoking dad. Plants filter themselves. This is biology 101. Just stay in school, kids.
Paige has got to chime in with an absolute banger.
Are you ready, guys? Now Paige calls me a cannibal.
Against the law?
That's cannibalism.
I don't know, Jill.
That's cannibalism. No, dum-dum. That is not cannibalism.
Going back to the beginning of Rosanna's video, though, she said that she watched the clips of what Tana had to say and that there were exaggerations made about Escape the Night, and she just wanted to go through what Tana was saying. And in regards to Tana describing the cast and calling them characters, Rosanna definitely took that as shade.
Tana arrives to set, and she said she walks into the room to all these characters. Tana, I love you, but you are a character.
Everyone there had been on Escape the Night before except one person. So, I don't know, it's just very weird to call them characters as if there's some big surprise. Like, she's met all these people. She knows, I believe, every person there except for maybe one, I'm not sure.
Gave her the benefit of the doubt that she was just having a bad day when it happened in the moment. But now that I'm watching all these interviews and podcasts that she's doing, I'm like, oh no, that's how she thinks about other people. Thinks that we're characters. I think in her opinion, she wanted to see more famous people in the room. And so she's being very judgmental and high and mighty.
In Tana's podcast, she definitely made it clear that this wasn't a good experience for her. Before she talked about the more serious incident on set, she did claim that she didn't want the person running it to be in trouble for what she was saying, aka Joey. But she definitely had complaints about wearing uncomfortable clothes and it being in downtown LA and it being really early, but noted that she wanted to do this because she loves the person running it, aka Joey.
The night before I get my call time, and it's 9 a.m. downtown Los Angeles. I need to be there full glam. I wake up, I do the glam, we're on our way, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to be at a 12-hour shoot all day, like trying to serve and give and slay and have a personality. And like, I can't feel my hands. And so we get there, and then I'm getting styled, I'm getting dressed, and I always say this, like, are you ever really serving if you're not in a little bit of pain? So per usual, it's just one of those things where I'm like corseted, it's up to my neck, like kitten heel, whole nine. I have to be like running around in all of this. I'm so uncomfortable. It's like 9:30 in the morning.
In reacting to Tana talking about these complaints, Rosanna wanted to share Tana was on set for the least amount of time and claimed that she was unprofessional on set.
This project filmed over 2 full days. Tana only filmed 1 day. Not only 1 day, but a half day. I think she was on set for maybe 6.5 hours. It was around there. I'll let Joey or the production team figure that out. She left before anyone else. I stayed hours and hours afterwards, so did everybody else. She did the least amount of work on this project. She had the shortest time on set, and she complained the most.
Yeah.
She was in a bad mood all day. Negative, unprofessional, and I didn't want to say that to her because I know people have bad days.
Later on in Tana's podcast, as we've discussed before, Tana described some uncomfortable encounters with one of the hired actors for Escape the Night.
The camera guy walks away, and now I'm just in this freezer, chained to the ceiling with a man in a horror mask, right? And he starts talking to me, and he's like, hey, I'm JJ. It was huge down there as well. So like the nearest people were like 25, 30 feet away, whatever, right? And this man looks at me, I swear to through the mask, I don't know what he looks like. And he looks at me and he says, this is my dream, having you chained up. No. This is my dream, having you chained up. And we're finally shooting this last scene, okay? And I have my hand on another fellow influencer, okay? I have my hand on her shoulder, and now she's about to get taken away as well. Same guy who came up to me and like said all that. Like he's still, mind you, he's still on set. He's still like doing his thing. He's whatever. He comes up to grab this other influencer away, and I have my hand on her shoulder, okay? And he's wearing these like big, like mitts, like prosthetic. It's not like human hands, you know what I mean? And he slams his hand hardest on her shoulder, and my hand is on her shoulder, and my pinky inverts. My pinky inverts, okay?
Trisha ended up getting involved because she had Joey on her podcast and brought this up. And Joey did comment on what had been shared publicly.
Joey didn't have to escape the night.
When Tana brought it up on her podcast, I was like, honestly, whatever. Like, she can complain. Like, it's just bringing attention to the project.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. Can I ask her about it then here?
Sure.
Okay.
You broke her thumb or something? What did you do?
Yeah, she broke her finger.
Oh, really?
No.
I can't wait to hear all of
She did not. She was at an event later that night, so she was clearly fine.
Well,
I'm
you
like,
probably could have gone with a broken finger.
no, it was like I don't deny that, like, her fingernail did get, like, bent or whatever, but, like,
Drama has already started.
People didn't love Joey's reaction and called him out, saying that he was dismissing Tana's feelings and what happened to her, and he wasn't taking it seriously. And Tana even called him out for not taking her seriously, and the situation ended up getting even bigger online. Oscar actually reached out for a statement to share on Trisha's podcast, and Joey wrote one that Oscar read in a recent episode.
I said, can you give Judge Trish an exclusive statement in response to Tana? He said, I sent Tana a text I don't see why she can't handle things offline. I apologize to her for how I talked about it on the pod, though, and I was just being playful. I think Tana's been hurt by a lot of people and put me in the same boat of people who have wronged her with people with bad intentions, but I genuinely feel bad and was shocked by her reaction, and I instantly texted her. And we also handled it on set, too. So I think talking about probably with that guy, I'm assuming, like when Tana told him about the harassment and stuff. She said he said we also handled it on set, and he said he's going to send her flowers. So I hope all's well that ends well.
In reaction to some of what Tana had to say, Rosanna wanted to give her perspective of what her experience was compared to Tana.
These men from this production company just weren't giving that. Like, and it was just like very creepy. Like I just, the vibes with every interaction I had with every single person, like just the mic guy, it was like, he's not asking me, he's all up in my.
So she says every interaction with every single person was weird or giving weird vibes or whatever. And it's like, no, I literally was next to Tana when she talked to several crew members several times. It was completely normal interactions. So just based on what I saw in person with my own eyes, it already proves, in my opinion, that she is either exaggerating or just lying. And that's not to say when we get to the other actor, what he said, it's not to say that that's didn't happen. But here she's literally saying every interaction with every person on the crew was weird. That's just not true.
Very weird, like heavy breathing, like complimenting me. Like, I do appreciate a compliment, but it's like weird when you're underground in a basement.
I don't mean this in any disrespectful way, but he wasn't heavy breathing because he thought Tana was hot and he was into her and he's like being creepy and slimy. He was heavy breathing because he was overweight and he was busting his ass. He was running up and down the stairs all day, working so hard.
You look so beautiful today, Tana. And they look like a gremlin, and you're like, my phone's on SOS, and like, it's just
time and place.
She complains that he compliments her, which he complimented everyone. I did not pick up that he was saying it in a creepy or hitting on you way at all. I think he was just giving kind compliments, and that's how it came across to me.
Then she wanted to give some context to the scene Tana described where she was chained to the ceiling, saying that it wasn't how she was describing it.
She's making it sound like her safety is at risk. Like she's locked in this room with this guy who said something to make her feel uncomfortable, and she cannot get out. That's what she's painting the picture.
And I'll post on the screen.
Post a picture.
Yeah, of like one random comment, and there's hundreds of these, of people taking what Tana is saying as fact, and then getting upset about it, and then continuing to spread the misinformation.
Yeah.
And that's why when people are like, you know, there's no perfect victim, or, you know, she's just exaggerating, but this other thing happens. I agree, there is no such thing as a perfect victim. But when you go on your own podcast to millions of people that you have full creative control over, she is choosing to intentionally exaggerate.
And lie.
And there are people out there who don't understand that and are now continuing to spread that misinformation.
Rosanna then shows footage of what the freezer that wasn't actually a functioning freezer looked like and the chains that Tana was talking about.
This is literally the freezer that Tana keeps talking about.
The meat freezer, there's no real meat in there. Those are props.
Yeah, like obviously fake meat.
Yes.
And then here are the chains.
See here, I'm grabbing the chains, and the loops are so big that when I have to stick my hands through, I have to hold on at the top. Otherwise, they just fall right off. And I'm very short, so I was fully extended.
And the fact that you can reach them and you're only 4'10".
When it comes to the actor being alone with Tana and him making that comment to her that made her uncomfortable, Rosanna explained from her perspective what went down when Tana made it known on set that something weird happened.
I think this is the worst of the situation where she says that
he said something inappropriate to her.
Yeah, inappropriate to her. We weren't there for that.
No.
I believe she probably was in that room with just that guy, so the only other person who would know is that guy. And obviously, if he's saying weird stuff,
that's not okay.
Yeah, of course that's not okay.
That's what I told her on set. She told me that the actor, this is quote, said something weird to her.
Yeah.
And I told her that's not cool. And I supported her. And I told her that she should go tell Joey because he'll put a stop to it. I don't know when she told Joey, but all she told Joey, he didn't have a lot of information to go on here because all she told Joey is that the actor said something weird to her. And he said, well, I don't ever want you to feel uncomfortable like on set. So we'll just... I think she had a couple more scenes, but he cut them and filmed separately, and they were like going to fix it in post. And
like,
she
didn't say what weird meant. There was no actual details. And so Joey just saw that she was uncomfortable and so separated them.
And I asked her the question, was he in character, like method acting, or was he himself? She claims that he was being himself.
Later, she says that Tana went on to film a scene with that same guy again because she said that she would before she left early that day.
He's still, mind you, he's still on set. He's still like doing his thing. He's whatever.
He's still on set because she didn't tell Joey what he said. All she told him was that he said something weird to her. And he said, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. What do you feel comfortable with? And she said she felt comfortable to shoot this. She'd do one more scene. So Joey's did the best he can with what little information she gave him.
Now, even though in this video, Rosanna is trying to clock a lot of the exaggerations and things that aren't true in what Tana has been saying about what happened on Escape the Night, at the end of the day, Rosanna is saying that she believes Tana with what she says about the guy saying something weird to her because she is a girl's girl, but it's clear that she just didn't love some of what Tana had to say about her and the way that she made the vibe of the set sound and was overall trying to say, hey, I was there, and these exaggerations and lies don't help people believe you sometimes.
And I chose to believe her then, and it just makes it really hard to believe someone, not because of like who they are, but because when you tell a story where you're over exaggerating so many things and lying about so many things, it makes it harder to believe you when it comes to serious things, because it destroys your credibility, it destroys your integrity. So I think one piece of advice that I would give to Tana is just work on that.
It is just really hard to believe everything she says when 90% of everything else she said is either an exaggeration or a lie.
It was a complaint Tana had on her podcast that people were not really believing her and what she said here.
I think I have been way too nice about how people act toward me when I talk about something bad that has happened to me at the hands of a man. And I made light of it, and I was like, it didn't deeply bother me for me personally. With the Cody Ko shit, I've already talked about that. Like, with people being like, well, it's Tana, so she deserved it. You know what I mean? Like, that never bothered me so much for me because I'm healed and I don't need people's validation, but it bothered me so much thinking about my young fans out there who have maybe gone through something traumatic, and then they see comments like that, and then they're afraid to speak up in their own environments.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it just societally, and it does, it doesn't hurt my feelings personally, but it does kind of make me angry because it's like I have just the right to speak out about something as everyone, like anyone else does, right? And I talked about my experience on Escape the Night with you on Patreon. And even that, like, I left it on the Patreon because I was like, I am going to talk about this because this was an awful experience with a man in Los Angeles that I had. And I think it's important to speak up about these things. And I really was so incredibly uncomfortable on that set due to those men. It has nothing to do with Joey. I went above and beyond as well to still say that, like, I love Escape the Night and I love Joey and it had nothing to do with him, and so on and so forth.
Tana in her original video did say multiple times that this all had nothing to do with Joey himself. He's great, she loves him, but obviously the video of her talking about his production is going to get him backlash as it's his production. And Rosanna and Mike, when reacting to Tana being upset about what Joey said on Just Trish, they were just trying to say that he just probably didn't realize how upset she was about everything until later on.
So I think Joey probably would apologize for saying that, but I think it's coming from a place of he was given limited information on set. He still fixed the problem. Tana didn't complain afterwards, and then she makes a podcast attacking him, telling lies, and covering it with, no, this isn't Joey. But you can literally just look at the comments on everyone's videos covering this, and they all are saying Joey made an unsafe workplace, did this, did that. So
Blaming Joey.
yeah, and so you can't just say, no, I love Joey, but his project was a mess. All the people he hired was a mess. Everything that happened to me was a mess, but Joey's great. Like, I think Tana is smart enough to know.
I think she's very smart.
Yeah, she's smart enough to know what she's doing. And
she's very loud and she's smart.
Honestly, I think Joey probably didn't realize how upset Tana was because when it was on set, it was taken care of, and then he never heard from her again.
Rosanna went on to react to the part of Brooke and Tana's podcast where she addressed how people thought that Tana was shading Rosanna, and Rosanna felt that she backtracked here.
People coming at me for saying that Rosanna Pansino wasn't saying that she was smoking her parents' ashes. It's like, where the for living hell do you people think I would get off making any of that up? Like, it is such an out of bounds story to make up, like in a meat freezer.
Just a little too specific.
Like smoking the parents in the meat freezer. Like, it's like I'm creative, but like,
did she have anything to say about that?
No, because I think she did do it, and like Rosanna Pansino's a slay.
After Tana gets backlash for attacking me for no reason, now I'm a slay. That's the backtracking. That's the flip-flopping. You did come for me, and you got backlash, and
Can't own her own shit.
it was just a funny.
Wow, hilarious.
I wasn't coming at her. Like, that was just a funny. But then people were accusing me of making that up, and I'm like, again, just where
I wish you made it up.
I wish she made it up.
So that's what Rosanna had to say about this whole Tana situation, and people have not reacted the best, I'll say that. Some people were feeling like you know, she had a right to criticize Tana when Tana was talking about her and bringing up the smoking situation, and that Brooke confused it for smoking ashes when that wasn't what happened. But when it came to her defending Joey and talking about her experience on set and trying to prove Tana as a liar and exaggerator, people didn't love that. They said, "This is super strange behavior and feels really gross. And this is coming from someone who has always supported you. This is not a good look at all. Wrong side of history for sure." I'm a Girl's Girl then proceeds to make an hour and 36-minute video without talking to Tana privately to discuss her issues with what she said. And Rosanna liked a reply to this comment that said, "And yet Ro still defends and believes her experience of SH. Why would Tana do this campaign against Joey and Ro? Why didn't she do anything privately?" Someone did comment agreeing with some points about Tana's story timeline, writing, "Her story always keeps subtly changing. First, she says she's working 4 hours, but says it's 11 a.m. when she also said she got there at 9 a.m. Then she says she's chained in this little meat freezer at 9 a.m. In the same breath, she then says the space was huge and the closest person is 30 feet away. It just doesn't make her reliable when her story is not at all consistent." But some feel the details don't matter and we just need to focus on the part where she said something occurred and that it was still wrong for Joey to not take it seriously on just Trish when Tana's experience was brought up. In the end though, when Tana was telling her original story, she didn't have beef with Joey. Yes, she put down the production, but she wasn't blaming Joey, so I don't think her intention was for him to get hate. Obviously, people did blame him after hearing her story because it sounded like this unprofessional set, so then he wasn't the happiest on Just Trish since one, Escape the Night wasn't even supposed to be announced to the public yet, and it just turned into this whole situation. He was getting a lot of hate, but I think originally it didn't seem like Tana intended on it being more than her just telling this experience that she had recently and, you know, that she wasn't blaming the person that put it on. And sounded like she had this realization that she should probably never do Escape the Night again, which I will say, you know, I don't know how she thought that maybe Joey was going to feel hearing her say all of this, even though she was trying to say still that she loved him and that it wasn't his fault. But obviously now a lot of feelings and reactions have been thrown into the mix. A lot of people are weighing in. I think the one thing that is clear here is that Tana's not about to do another Escape the Night and probs won't get the offer to ever do it again if it happens ever again. But that is what has been going on with this whole situation as of recent. That's what Rosanna's had to say. That is what Tana said. Joey, I want to know what you guys think about all of this because there is a lot of opinions going around right now, especially with Rosanna coming out and talking about this and trying to show us what the set looked like. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love you guys so much and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye guys.